What is up, team? Happy Tuesday. Sorry we have not gotten this out on a Monday for 2 weeks in a row. Bad start to the new year. But we have a very, very religious joke that I think we will all appreciate because we work at a church. Here it is. After my son's team won the soccer game, the goalkeeper invited us to his house for a party. It was the Father, the Son, and the goalie host. Pretty good. We have Asking for a Friend series. That is this Wednesday night. Tomorrow night, Andrew Miller is going to be teaching on the question, can I trust the Bible? And that is such a huge, huge question. Obviously, he won't be able to answer all of that question, but I'm excited to see what he has and just hopefully helping our students have a little more confidence in the book they read. And I think it makes, I know for me in high school and middle school when I started diving into this question, it helped me realize, man, the Bible is real. Like there just was some more realness to it, and it wasn't just this ancient concept. It was like a real thing that I could trust. We're continuing the dance party. And so tomorrow night we'll still do a dance party to end the night. Please remember, let's really, really, really try. This includes you as leaders, but also our students. When the dance party starts, everyone comes out of the lobby and into the activity center. If you're having a serious conversation with a student, I get that. Or if you're having a serious conversation with like a parent, that's fine. But we need to get all of our students into the dance party. I know that there was some just confusion with that. So please make sure that each and every one of you are encouraging our students to get into the dance party and getting involved in the dancing. They don't have to dance. That's fine if they don't want to. But if you can encourage them, I think that they'll have a good time. I know for me, I hate dancing, but when it's stuff like this that's just ridiculous, you end up just having a fun time with friends. So it was very clear for our high school students that when they started getting excited about the dance party, our middle school students got excited about the dance party. And I think it's going to be the same with our adults. So if you can join in and just have fun with it and go crazy, it's a great way that we end the night right at 8:30, and we end it on a high note and make students excited for the following week. We're doing Asking for a Friend, like I said. Make sure that you're encouraging your students to write in questions. This is their last chance to do it, because next week we're going to do a message just talking about those questions, and we're going to do table discussions next week, which means we'll all be sitting at tables, hopefully with your group. Actually, definitely with your group. We'll make sure that happens. And we'll, during the service, instead of breaking into small groups, we're going to keep sending it back to the tables for you to discuss right then and right there on these questions. And we'll see how it goes. Last couple things. One, we're doing a sex and dating series coming up in February, so I'm really excited about that. I'll be sending an email out to parents tonight, giving them a heads up on that, and I think that is just so important. During that time, here's what I'll just ask as we move forward, is we avoid using the purpling joke, the no purpling joke. The reason being, it's not that I don't think it's funny, it's not that I don't think it's I get it, it's a funny joke, but what it can inadvertently and accidentally do is create this narrative for our students that it's bad to engage with members of the opposite sex. And that couldn't be further from the truth, and to me, our junior high students are already awkward around the opposite sex, and I think it's really cool when you see junior hires, not just seeing them as like a scary person that they're attracted to, but as a person that they can just be friends with. And I mean, most of you know there's so much value to having friends of the opposite sex. And so if we can just be avoiding those purpling jokes, especially during that series, I just think it's going to do more harm than good. Again, I know that the intentions are not wrong with those, but I think I'd rather us be on the safe side with those. Last two things, these are things that we talked about at our meeting. Spring retreat is coming up, and we need host homes. We're going to do the retreat here at the church. If you want to host a small group of students that Friday night, so that would be March 7th. We're just doing March 7th into the 8th. We're doing one night. If you'd be willing to host, please let me know. Other things, we're doing a thing called Row Leaders, and I'll explain a little more in a minute. But basically, if you have someone, a student or multiple students that you know of who are just natural leaders, that doesn't mean they're the most outgoing person, but they're a person who comes consistently and would take a role of taking ownership of our ministry seriously. Basically, someone who's going to be welcoming in their peers and making sure their peers are feel at home at our ministry. If you can think of any students, please text me this week. I'd like to identify. I already have a small list of my own thoughts, but if you have a student in your group or a student that you've interacted with that you think would be a good fit, again, they need to be consistent and they need to be a leader. So someone who we can rely on being there most weeks because they've had a history of good attendance, and someone who is good at that. I am going to turn over to a review of the meeting. So if you were at the meeting, you can stop watching. Love you. Peace out. Remember to subscribe below, and we'll see you later. If you missed the meeting, keep listening because this is very important for you. Some information, big information that you missed that I want to make sure you get. Okay, if you're still listening, then you have likely missed the leader meeting. If you did not miss the leader meeting, you're going to hear the same information again, which good for you. You are just the most knowledgeable and passionate about our ministry. Hey, first off, just continue to pray for our ministry that we help our students find family and own their faith. I think you guys as leaders are doing an excellent job at that. I think that's why we're seeing students who visit for the first time show up the next week, because they're coming and they're going, hey, I actually feel like I'm a part of something. And what an awesome thing to see that. There's 4 things I want to go over here. First one is Get Out Night shift. We're going to make a subtle shift that I think will make a big deal for us and for parents. We've been, if you're not aware, we've been doing a service project for one gender and a number of fun event nights for the other gender. What we've seen is the fun nights are kind of hit and miss because parents are just traveling all over the place, and especially parents who have multiple kids are traveling all over the place. And on top of that, we're asking them to go serve, the other students to go serve. And in terms of getting parents to drive students for service, we've seen parents have no problem with that because that's a big deal to them. But the fun stuff has not been ideal for them, and it's just it adds a lot of details. And we're just not sure that it's a huge win. So what we're going to try is we'll do this time around, it was going to be a girls get out night. At the meeting we decided it's going to be a guys get out night, which means only guys are going out. Guys are going to go serve in the community in different ways. And then girls will have a girls night at the church in the activity center. And the female leaders have decided on some stuff. I don't exactly remember what they're going to be doing. But if you are a girl leader, whether you're a small group leader or not, be a part of that. Get connected with some other girl leaders and figure out what are the ladies doing that night. Basically, just make it a fun big night for those. And then if you're a small group leader, I just encourage you. Make it a goal that once a semester you take your group out and have a fun night just somewhere that's just a fun experience. It doesn't have to be on a Wednesday. Actually, especially with the youth group, it won't be on a Wednesday. But do it like on a Thursday night or a Tuesday night or a Monday night or a Saturday morning or something where you and your whole group or most of your group can get together and laser tag or something. And so that would be really cool. Make that a goal to do once a semester. And a really cool idea too is you could even invite, if you have a group of guys for that one night that you do, you could even invite all the dads and say, hey dads, we're gonna go laser tagging, bring $5-10, we'll get pizza, whatever, and you're welcome to join with us and have fun with your son. I think that's a great win too if you want to get to know the parents of your students. Second thing, first thing is that Get Out Night shift. And Get Out Night will be February 5th. So that's guys get out night. Guys are serving. I'm still working on. Schools are just having a hard time finding stuff to do indoors with the weather. Spring retreat is coming up. Like I said, we're going to be at the church. There's many reasons for that, but to basically sum it up is cost and easiness in detailing and easiness in asking students to come and to bring their friends. I think we could have the potential of making this a really, really fun new tradition after last year's thing with the snow and with transportation, and it turned out to be a really fun time. I'm open to this becoming a new spring retreat format. I'm also open to going back to Pinecrest next year if this doesn't work out, but we want to really push our students to be excited about this. If a student asks you, hey, so does this mean we're never going back to Pinecrest? You can just say, well, we'll be back for fall retreat, but we'll see with spring retreat. Don't give them any promises because we really don't know with spring retreat. But we do know that we will be back at Pinecrest in the fall. We got the second weekend of October reserved for the fall retreat, which will be really cool that we can be in October. And there's like 5 weekends in October, so we'll still be far enough away from the family retreat that happens at the end of October at Pinecrest as well. 2 more things. So that's spring retreat. Oh, and with that spring retreat, again, if you can be a host, basically, essentially, what we'll do is Friday night. So students will get in Friday afternoon. We'll do most retreat things. We'll get them checked in. We'll do dinner. We'll do a session that night. We'll do a night game, and then after all of that, we'll send our groups by group home to different host homes, and they'll spend the night. The host home will provide breakfast, and we'll financially provide that, but if the host homes can make the breakfast, and we'll reimburse them. And then they'll come back Saturday morning. We'll do a session. We'll probably do a game time then. We'll do lunch. We'll do a large amount of free time where we're going to get a ton of stuff like inflatables and different activities to do throughout the church. And we're going to avoid the activity center as much as we can to get our students into different rooms throughout the church, and that'll be really cool. Then we'll do another session in the evening, another night game, and after the night game Saturday night, we'll end it, we'll send them home, and we'll ask them, or we'll encourage them to come to church the next morning. It will be daylight savings, so we'll lose an hour, they'll be exhausted from the weekend. Sunday morning will be very chill and relaxed and low-key, but we'd love to just provide something, especially if a new student's there, to give them an opportunity to come to church the next day with a friend. That's spring retreat. If you have any questions, let me know. 2 more things, pretty quick. One is just a heads up. We're going to be, as a student ministry, we're going to be determining some key values and some core values for us as a student ministry, junior high and senior high together. And we're going to be figuring out, hey, what are a few things that we as a ministry want to focus on that we value above everything else? And what that does is it creates a filter for us. If we say, hey, these are our values, everything that we do lies within these values. And if there's something that we do that doesn't really hit these values, then it's probably not worth our time, because we have a limited amount of time. And truthfully, every single one of us as individuals and as ministries, we value stuff. We value different things and we prioritize different things. So what we want to do is be intentional and say, these are our values and this is why we value them. But we want to hear input from you guys and from our senior high leaders. So when you, in about a week or so, I'll send something out to you that just allows you to say, hey, these are, if I could pick 3 values for our ministry, these would be it. It could be stuff that you think we should have. It's probably going to be stuff that you think we already do and already do value. So just be thinking through that before we send it, and be ready to answer that, because I want to hear from every single one of you. I want to know what you think. Almost all of you have been here longer than I have, and so you can give a picture into our values. Last thing is, I mentioned this earlier in the video, we're going to be doing a new leadership team with some junior high students, and it's actually not my idea. I heard it from elsewhere. It's a great opportunity to get our junior high students into a position of influence and leadership and ownership in our ministry. And what we're going to call them is they're going to be row leaders. And essentially those row leaders are going to be students who oversee actual rows in our seating areas on Wednesday nights. So we'll put up a chart and say, hey, you are in charge of whatever, these first 2 rows or this row here. So it could be a row, it could be 2 rows, it just kind of depends on what we are looking at. And basically, they will own every single butt that sits in those chairs that are in their row. In other words, anyone who sits in your row that belongs to you, you need to make sure that every single student that sits there is welcomed, and that there's not a single student that sits alone in there. And so if it's a new student that you notice that's sitting in the corner and in your row, you're sitting with them or you're inviting them to sit with you. And then what we'll also do is Christmas every month. And basically once a month, we'll just, probably our high school students, when they go up for a game, they'll just say, hey, everyone, it's Christmas in April. And on a random Wednesday night in April, we announce that. And our row leaders will be told ahead of time, hey, you need to get Christmas gifts for your row. And those Christmas gifts can be so simple. They can be a stick of gum for each of your leaders. They can be pancakes or cookies they bake. Whatever it is, it can be as cheap as possible or as elaborate as possible. It doesn't matter. Each row leader will get up, excited, will cheer. They'll give out their Christmas gifts. And so once a month, we're just doing Christmas. And it'll become, I think, it could become a really fun tradition type of thing that our recurring students look forward to each month. And when it's Christmas, they're really excited. And for our new students, it can be just a really cool, like, why are this is chaotic, but these students are giving me something free. And it's not an adult, it's not a high school student, it's like one of my peers, or possibly even someone that's a grade younger than me that's giving me this. And I think that communicates, again, just that sense of family and that sense of belonging that we're aiming towards with our ministry. So, really excited about these things. Continue to be praying for our ministry. We cannot do anything that we're achieving, or that we're seeking to accomplish without the help of God, and I think God's behind this, but we need to keep leaning in on Him, keep depending on Him, keep asking for Him to be behind us. And I know I am just praying fervently that God's favor would be on our ministry, because it's not it has nothing to do with us. God could accomplish all this without us, and it is such a privilege that each and every one of us get to be a part of His kingdom work, and I just pray that we get to continue to be part of it. And I'm so thankful for all of you and your willingness to step up and all the hard work you put in. And so I love you guys. Again, remember to subscribe if you haven't, so that way you get an extra notification when these videos go up. And let's just keep fighting the fight and helping our students find family and own their faith. We'll see you guys. Peace.